Good morning, everyone. Suzanne Taylor King here for Content Creation Mastery. If you don't know me, I'm a business coach for business owners and entrepreneurs and content creators. And one of the things that I hear the most often is, how do I create enough content for 3 platforms? How do I base it on my offers? How do I make it unique in this world of just being bombarded with content constantly? There's always something to read, always something to scroll, and standing out when you're first getting started or when you're looking to pivot your business can really feel overwhelming, especially if you're looking to stand out and up level yourself in a sea of either coaches or creators or website designers or agency owners, right? So it really looks like making yourself the unique genius that you are. So today, I'm going to go over some steps with you to take to elevate your content. And in the process, it's going to elevate your offers. It's going to elevate your events, your webinars. It has this ripple effect on everything you do in the online space. So we have a couple of people joining us live. We are live in the Idea Lab Facebook community. So if you're joining me there, please say hello. We are also live on YouTube and LinkedIn. So wherever you're joining from, please say hello in the comments. And as we go along, if you have questions or you want clarification, because I'm going to be super high level today, not a ton of detail, but lots of bullet points for you to write down. And if at any time you have questions, please jump in the comments and let me know. And if I don't get to your questions live or you're catching the replay of this, please just put hashtag replay and put your question, and I come back and check all the time to make sure that those questions are answered. Hey, David, welcome and good morning. Happy that you're here today. So, streamlining your content for really a year at a time is what I recommend. So many times we look at our content in a weekly batch or we look at it at a 30-day cycle. And what I'm proposing with this information today is you actually look out ahead for a year. And number one is identify 12 content pillars for your brand. What does that look like? Well, for me, it looks like monthly content pillars based on your product, your service, the topics you teach about, the topics you coach around, industry trends, common questions. That's key. If you don't have 100 common questions that your ideal client or your current clients ask you all the time, if you don't have that, make a list. Number one action step today, make a list of 100 questions that your clients ask you or your prospective clients have. Make a list of those questions, and that's what you do your videos on. That's what I'm doing right now. My clients have questions about content all the time. I created a framework for creating content at scale for my clients. So this video is one of their questions. Make sense? I know it does. So really seasonal topics you can roll in kind of on an as needed basis, like Black Friday special or before the end of the year special, things like that. That's like on a kind of as needed basis. I always post for holidays, but I don't put that in my content plan. So, questions on your content pillars, let me know in the comments. 12 content pillars, one for each month of the year. And then you're going to break that down even further to a weekly topic if you choose. And I recommend that as well. Okay, number 2, when you break down those monthly 12 topics into weekly, you want to have blog content, you want to have video content, and you want to have your social media posts. Now, if you don't do a blog and you do a podcast instead, awesome. But you want all of that content every week to go together. That is your number one thing. You want all of that content to go together. So if I have a podcast episode this week about a book, I want my content to match what we're talking about in that book. Make sense? Yes, I know. Um, your video content, your social media posts, and any written content all need to go together. Then you create a calendar. It could be on paper, it could be a digital calendar. I use Notion, and I have a whole business dashboard in Notion. Whatever tool works for you. I have tons of suggestions on that. If you have questions about how to keep track of your content, I use a Google Drive folder. I use Evernote for ideas, and I use Notion to plan it out and have my team help me with graphics and that kind of stuff. So when you batch that content creation and you have a dashboard to keep track of it, it will really drive your daily tasks of being online almost down to zero. And when you can do that, you're actually conserving time. I typically do my content and post it and schedule it once a month. It takes me about 2 hours, and sometimes my assistant does that for me. But if it's a month that I have 3 or 4 events and I have a launch happening or a challenge happening, like I have one coming up in November, I have a 3-day challenge coming up. I do all of that scheduling because I'm really strategic about my 6-week promotion schedule, when, time of day, and I want to make sure that's all done like to my SOP. And so when you do that, when you plan it out far enough in advance, you actually end up with more people at your events and participating in what you offer. And I'm going to give you a real-time example. Um, just this month, just this week, actually, I host a monthly event called Coach Conversations. It's the third Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. If you want an invite to that, mention it in the comments and I'll make sure you get it. But here, I did a little experiment. Last month, I didn't send an email in regards to Coach Conversations. I didn't post the event on LinkedIn or Facebook. And I only sent one email to the 2,300 coaches that are on my email list and invited them one time. And my event ended up with 12 people. Interesting. Now, following my own advice and my own schedule for this past week, posted on Facebook, invited everyone that's a coach in my group, posted on LinkedIn, invited every coach that I'm connected to, which is almost 2,000 people, emailed my list, my whole list, and then emailed the coaches on my list, because I have them tagged, a second time. And I ended up with over 70 people registered and 30 in attendance. Not bad. And I ran that experiment to prove to myself that my own advice works. And this is something you have to do all the time. You have to test what works, look at the numbers, and see if it makes sense to keep doing that. I don't know about you, but I run into a lot of entrepreneurs who keep doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. And let me know if that's you in the comments, if you've done that. And when you do that and you expect that different result, it's time to hold up the mirror and really look at yourself and say, what am I doing? What goal am I trying to achieve with my events and my content? Okay, let me move on to the next step in my notes here. So, you want to schedule, you want to automate what you can, and the most important part that I just mentioned is analyze your numbers. Analyze at the end of each month what posts did well, what posts got more comments from your ideal clients. Now, this is key. If you're not interacting with your comments, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. Now, looking at, say, a post from 3 weeks ago that got 700 impressions, but no comments. Lots of likes, but no comments. Now, that means to me, people are liking my post because it was mine, not because they liked the content, at least 50% in my book. Now, what I need to look at is the next post after that that got a ton of comments, not as many impressions, but a ton of comments. What did I say in that post? What did I talk about? Was it one of my content pillars? Was it one of my bold posts where I take a stand against something? What type of content is driving my ideal client to comment and interact with me? Then, last tip is look at those posts and then go back in your content. Let's go back 3 months, 4 months, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook, you can go back and look at your old content and see what posts performed well. Copy that post and change the headline in the post and change the call to action to be current and see if it gets the same result. Most content creators who are so-called influencers or gurus, they are recycling content. They're not constantly coming up with something new. They are every 3 to 6 months reposting, re-talking about. They are doing a new headline, they're doing a new call to action, and they're re-engaging with the same people on the same topics over and over and over. Now, I've never publicly talked about content creation, really, but it's a foundation of what every single one of my clients is doing. So, if you don't have this nailed down, you need to. Okay, let's go over what we talked about so far today. 12 content pillars, a monthly topic, right? 12 months, 12 topics. Then for each month, if the month has 4 weeks or 5 weeks, you come up with that many subtopics. For example, if you're a ghostwriter and you write content for people, each month is going to be a different topic about what you do. Maybe each weekly topic is answering a question that your clients have. And let's take a business coach, for example, someone like me. I can talk about, I can teach about, I can coach around 300 topics easily because I've been doing this for 35 years and in the online space for 15. But if I don't dial it in to 12 topics and then the subtopics, I would be all over the place with my content. So I keep it dialed into pricing, to offers, to intellectual property, to content creation, to confidence and taking bold action, high performance habits and personal habits. And you could see this list could go on forever for someone who's multi passionate, who's been doing it a long time. But you need to reel that in and really focus on the topics, not that you want to talk about, honey, the topics that your ideal client wants to hear about, the problems that they want solved. Every single one of my clients that I've had for the last 8 years has wanted to be able to raise their prices. And they want to know how. They want to know how they compare to other prices on the market. And it's literally a 20-minute conversation in order to raise your prices. And then it's a little bit longer to upgrade your offers to match that pricing, but it's all a mindset. So I could talk about that topic for a month and all the subtopics that go with that and be attracting someone who is feeling stuck at their income level, who's feeling scared to just double their prices. But I'm here to tell you, if you dial in your topics, you will attract so many more people to you. All right, questions in the comments, please. And if you're catching the replay, put hashtag replay and put your questions about content creation in the comments. And for all of my amazing clients in growth intentions, you're going to get the detailed instructions on how to do this and how to put it into play in your business. So look for that post coming soon. And if you're curious about what it looks like to work with a coach and really dive into upgrading your offers, your pricing, your content strategy, and your mindset around success and the habits you need to perform as an entrepreneur, reach out. Let's connect. We'll have a conversation, or I'll invite you to one of the incredible events in the Idea Lab community to get you started. All right, I'm Suzanne Taylor King. That's Content Creation Mastery and your Friday training for this week. Have an awesome weekend, and I can't wait to hear about your content pillars. Have a great one.